Hello, everybody. My name is Nkosi Kennedy, and this is the Two Sides of a Coin podcast. Also on this is my co-host John. You want to say hi, John?
Hey everybody.
All right. So we got an action-packed day for you today. We're going to talk about a little bit of the shakeup at DC, and John is going to give you some of his food picks. So without further ado, John, send us off.
Well, I'm gonna start a little spicy today with Dave's Hot Chicken. Now, Dave's Hot Chicken is a growing popular chicken chicken restaurant. Real good. If I had to if I wanted to give like a gist of how I personally feel about Dave's hot chicken, it's kind of like a ranch one, you know? It's really good. The chicken sandwich is on point, but it's a restaurant in its own class, pretty much. Now, Dave's Hot Chicken at first, to be honest, I really wanted to. I in a way kind of stalked this restaurant because when I first seen it, I first came upon Dave's Hot Chicken on Instagram, and for the restaurant to come to New York. Now that's it was like a dream come true because I've been asking when are y'all coming to New York? Are you doing any pop-ups? And I was just real happy. Like my wife first thing says to me, "Oh, Dave's Hot Chicken, grand opening here in New York." I'm like, I finally get to sink my teeth into this restaurant. I mean, just to see this chicken, I just wanted to really see if it was really all the hype. Like a lot of people say the chicken's like oh so juicy, well spiced. I had to see it for myself, and I had my wife wait at the grand opening on the line, and she was like, "It's a long line," and she waited. By the time we got to, I would say, by the time round, let's say about 5:30, yeah, 5:30 we were at we were in front into the deep, which was a we were like really like knee deep in this line. Like we just got on the same street as Dave's Hot Chicken by the time it hit 5:30. And then slowly but surely we climbed the line. We finally got inside after waiting online for like a hour and change. And I'm telling you, it was worth the wait. I mean, at the grand opening, all you had to do for anything free to get any of the free stuff, all you had to simply do was follow them on Instagram, right? And you got a free item. I mean, that is something for a grand opening. I've gone to plenty of grand openings for chicken spots. And I ain't get it that good, or better yet, I haven't gotten yet. But I know for a fact from what I've checked out so far, haven't gotten it that good. A grand opening like that, all you had to do was follow them on the gram, and you got some free stuff um other on top of what you were already gonna buy. Whew, I, I, I felt so much like I felt the glutton inside of me, so I had to put it in its place. I mean, this chicken's was oh so good. I mean, they're like all over California, pretty much, like mostly all over California to Ohio, Arizona. I mean, just like they don't do like other chicken spots, you know. You're not gonna see get 20 tenders or 20 nuggets. No, no, no. This place is on point when it comes to spice and quality of the food. Like with this good quality, you don't need to double up. You're good with just maybe, I would say the most I've eaten was like four tenders, and then I was good. Literally good. Like the breading, they with the breading, like they put everything in the breading as of like the spice level is all in the breading. So I would say the top spice is like heat level is really hot. And trust me, it is really hot. Like literally really hot. Now, when I say well made, I mean you can taste like at the first bite, you could taste the spice. And then like depending on what level of heat you got, you taste it right off the bat. And then you got the juiciness of the white meat. I mean, literally that juicy. It's not even dark meat. Most spots I went to all do dark meat, and they say it's white meat, but it's like half dark meat, half white meat. So they're 100% straight all white meat. And Dave's hot chicken for all my spicy connoisseurs. Definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. They're located on 944 8th Avenue, zip code 10019. And they're not far from Columbus Circle. Literally, you could take the train to 59th Street, and then you just have to walk along 8th Avenue to 56th Street, and it's like right there. It's right next to the McDonald's. And I gotta say, McDonald's is gonna have a hell of a competition now with Dave's hot chicken and ooh man. I mean, at the grand opening, they ran out of chicken. Like they literally ran out of chicken. I didn't even see that coming. Moving on to another good restaurant. Gonna cool it down a bit and bring y'all to back to take y'all to Harlem for the Noodle. The Noodle is located on 370 Malcolm X Boulevard. All you have to do is just like literally take the 2 train, and it's just walking distance from the 2. Take the 2 train to 125th, and it's literally once you get off 125th Street, like if you're walking towards going further alongside Malcolm X Boulevard, going uptown, you're gonna bump right into it. Can't miss it. Now the Noodle is good, real good ramen bowl. I stumbled upon this spot walking from a poetry event at Harlem Shake. I usually go to Asian ramen, period, but I figured let me give this spot a chance, see what it's all about. Now the noodle has 2 locations. One location is on Malcolm X Boulevard. The other location is on 148th in Broadway. Little distance, but the sister restaurant, which is the one on Malcolm X Boulevard, has way more options than its big brother restaurant. There you don't always have to get ramen. You can get wings, you can get dumplings. They have varieties on have a larger variety at the sister location than the big brother location. Now the ramen I say is really nice. Well, very well portioned. You're not getting skimped on your meal. Definitely not getting skimped. And it's well priced. I went and got a beef bowl, spicy of course, because I like it spicy. And I only paid $17. Only paid 17. Also because I also got dumplings, so yeah, all came out to $17, which was very, very good amount for a bowl of ramen. Because usually when I go to Asian ramen, I'm paying a lot more than that. The noodle is has slamming dumplings, and the wings are just amazing. This spot is well needed in Harlem. Outside of all the soup spots in Harlem, this takes the cake. I gotta say, I mentioned it to one of my coworkers to check this place out, and they were battling the cold at the moment, and they was like, they went over there. Well, they ordered on Uber Eats, and they was like, "Yo, you was right, man. This place is no joke. This is real good. Like, yo, I got the thing you he was telling me how he got the beef bowl that I had suggested, And shoot, he had that, went to sleep, woke up a little later on that night, and he was like, shoot, I feel a little bit better. I was like, well, go the noodle. So yes, guys, definitely check out the noodle and Dave's Hot Chicken. Very worth if you're traveling from far parts in the five boroughs. This is a spot definitely worth checking out. And if you're even in Harlem and you're looking for a good soup spot, definitely check out the Noodle. And that's all I will be saying for food.
All right. So, John, we'll just jump right into the main topic. Um, there's been a lot of talk around DC, around those whole parts about, you know, how the DC cinematic universe has been going and how it will be going in the future. The biggest problem, I think, for many people is they felt like with David Zaslav that he's just going to come in there and DC is not going to have a vision. Then when Batgirl was canceled, that also turned a lot of people off, and the ongoing stuff with Ezra Miller around the Flash and everything that's come up as just this big black eye and stain on DC. And news broke uh, about last week that DC was actually going to have two good things happen. Number one, it was going to have its own studio. It wasn't going to
Hmm.
be under Warner Brothers anymore. But number two is that it was getting two co heads. One of those guys being Peter Safran, and the other one
Hmm.
being the much more famous James Gunn, the writer and director
Yes.
over Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yep.
the new Suicide Squad movie, as well as Peacemaker TV show. And they were going to be the co studio heads. So I know that you're going to fanboy out over that. So I'll let you have the floor and declare that everything is going DC's way.
Everything really is going DC's way, and it's about time. It is really about time. I was so happy to hear that James Gunn was going to be on board, and also will be controlling the creative rights on the directing and everything. I was like, yes, we're gonna have some DC movies that now I'm not gonna set myself up and put my foot in my mouth. So I'm gonna say we're gonna get some DC movies that we will constantly be talking about over and over with James Gunn now on board. You know, I like Guardians of the Galaxy. I really like Peacemaker though. You know, I really like Peacemaker and like what they did with James Gunn's participation in it. Really good. Like I actually like people ask me like what DC character, I was like, well, my favorite DC characters are DC characters, of course, in the Codeverse, but overall, I love all DC heroes. I just feel DC need if DC is going to utilize any of my heroes per se that I favor, we need somebody that's going to do them right. And I feel James with if James Gunn taking the reins on that, yo, I wouldn't be surprised if people are rooting more about DC. People root for DC just like they root for Marvel.
I mean, people already root for DC like they do for Marvel. DC's problem has never been about rooting for itself. DC's problem has been about having a cohesive vision and executing that vision,
That's
and
true.
I really do find it interesting because you mentioned James Gunn and he's only going to be the co-head, but you didn't mention Peter Safran. Do you know who Peter Safran is? Like, do you know why he's this big hotshot in Hollywood today?
To be honest, I do not. I would really like if you tell me.
Well, I mean, Peter Safran is, like I said, he's a big shot in terms of being a producer. And he's produced comedies as well as action and horror movies. So, to put it into perspective, Shazam, he produced that. He also produced the Conjuring universe. So, the last three Annabelle movies, as well as the Devil in the Home Conjuring universe movie, those were all produced by Peter Safran. So this is a guy that knows horror. This is a guy that knows uh, action, and he also knows a little bit of comedy because he's also produced a lot of those low budget like disaster movie. He was on the first Scary Movie. He executive produced that. He was also very first movie he ever executive produced was a small movie with Marlon Wayans. I know you remember this movie. It was the movie called Senseless. And if you remember that movie, that was the movie where he was an experiment and where he'd take a little drug and his five senses would be heightened. Do you remember that movie,
Yep.
John?
Oh, I remember that movie.
Yeah, so that was also Peter Safran. He was an executive producer on that movie as well. So this is a guy who has a large breadth of movies that's been in multiple cultures, as well as a guy that is a mover and a shaker. So that is very good for DC that you have a guy who's more on the creative side and you have a guy that's more on the business side. But there are still a couple questions that I have about this whole relationship that they're going into because they're going to be co-heads, and it's probably going to work itself out. But I do think we should look into those questions and give them an honest go once over, and give our 2 cents on them, right?
Of course.
So, the first question that I think many people like yourself are thinking is with James Gunn, you want James Gunn to be the Kevin Feige for the DC cinematic universe. You want him to go in there and you want him to have that overall artistic vision, right?
Right.
But the thing that I think we also need to remember is that Kevin Feige doesn't direct any of those movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He just executive produces, he oversees it, but he's not the director of it. So, with now James Gunn, who is a really good director, as well as a good writer, as well as a little bit of a producer, do you want James Gunn, the director, directing the movies, or do you want James Gunn, the producer, who hasn't really produced that many movies? He's not as many or as successful as he has directed to oversee that universe.
I will say I went at first I wanted more producing, but I feel he'd be better with the directing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would want him like directing and making sure things are done right as opposed to doing any of his producing. Now, the producing wouldn't be wrong. Producing him producing anything would not be wrong. But for the stuff I want to see that's been mentioned coming forward with DC now, I would prefer him in the director's chair. So that way I feel more confident. I actually feel more confident with what succumb to soar in DC.
Okay, that's perfectly fair to want to have him as a director more than a producer. He is a very good director, and his producing credits, I mean, he's produced a little bit, but nothing like not as varied as like Peter Safran and all that stuff.
Right.
So here's the thing: if he is going to be the director, then do you think that's going to impact the overall output of the DC cinematic universe? Because I'm guessing you want James Gunn over every single movie that comes out from the DC cinematic universe, correct?
Correct.
So, how many movies are you comfortable with getting from DC? Are you talking about just one a year and that will keep you satiated? Or are you thinking more that you want multiple movies and maybe one of those movies Peter Gunn directs?
I want. I can go with one movie a year. I can go with one movie a year because the way I'm seeing the like how I was seeing with DC before, and everything was like okay, coming soon, and then also this is going to be coming out, and I was like, okay, I think we could slow down a little bit, you know. Let us let one live a little, let it breathe, and then come out with the next. So I would prefer I my heart says multiple, but my spirit says one.
Okay. I mean, that could be the way it goes. I could see them doing a hybrid type thing. I could see Safran taking over more of the producing side of it, while
Yeah,
Gunn does
I could see
maybe a
that
little
too.
bit directing. But I do think that you know that's I think what can happen is more James Gunn might be in charge over the overall direction of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Safran will be the guy doing the day to day work of, hey, this is how we get it done. Like, kind of think about it like with Steve Jobs and I can't remember his second Wozniak. Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Wozniak was the guy in the lab working on the technical stuff, while Jobs was the guy over the overall idea. And maybe they might
Mhm.
take that route where Safran's the guy doing the day to day stuff, while Gunn is doing the overall idea and doing the occasional movie here or there. But I
Yeah,
mean, directing is a lot, so I don't think he's going to be doing nearly as many movies as people want or people expect him to do, because then you also got to add in their TV and all that stuff.
right. I mean the DC TV universe isn't really that bad. It's really not that bad. I like the shows I've seen so far that I really like, which hopefully now that we got James Gunn and Peter Safran in the mix, we can probably bring back shows like Black Lightning. I would like Black Lightning to come back.
Oh no, none of those CW shows are going to come back.
Really?
I can guarantee you they're not, because those that's a completely different universe. If they come back, they're going to be completely rebooted. They're not going to be the same one. But I do love that you brought that up, because that brings and circles around to another big issue that's going to come in on their laps almost immediately, and it's kind of tied into a character that was on those CW, uh, that was on that Arrowverse, and that is, of course, the Flash.
Oh, I knew you were
I mean, Ezra
gonna.
Miller has been just the poster child for what happens when you don't take action effectively. So, this is a big question that we do need to ask, and that is, what do you think the action that James Gunn and Peter Safran will take in regards to Ezra Miller? I mean, they're not going to take him out of the movie. The movie's going to come out.
No, they can't. The
Like,
movie's gonna come out.
we know the movie's going to come out. So, what do you think they're going to do with Ezra Miller?
Wow, that I just blew. That's got my mind. I'm looking at a lot of possibilities. I mean, one idea I have that they'll probably do is do like a maybe like with Ezra Miller and all. Maybe with the way they're going with the Flash, that movie comes out and then do something to maybe close out the character of Ezra Miller being the Flash, and then do like a whole reboot. Not reboot. Well, yeah, probably do a reboot, or do like they did with or they could go the do like they did with the whole how they've picked different Spider-Mans over like attack it like with the whole multiverse. Like Ezra Miller is this Flash, and then they just bring somebody else into the Flash mantle.
That's
It's
possible.
kind of like how I like. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do. I honestly want them to do the whole attacking of the multiverse, and I think James with James Gunn and Peter Safran, they would be able to do it right.
I think they would. I agree. I think they have the tools that could lead to a multiversal thing with the DC cinematic universe. And I do think that they can truly push a cohesive storyline across multiple movies and not have everything be a one off. I also think that they're going to maybe do more with the JSA because we talked about it in our Black
Yeah.
Adam review. We both really liked the JSA, them as a group, and we would love to
Hmm.
see them in another movie. And I think with Peter Gunn, he would do that. I think he would bring that in there, you know. I also think we might see with James Gunn in there, maybe the Teen Titans are going to come more into play in the DC cinematic universe. The Dakotaverse could come into play. DC
Yes, please, Dakota Verse. Okay, now with the Dakota Verse,
that's not
I
a
could see,
Go ahead, go ahead.
huh?
Go ahead. I know you're gonna
Now,
want to.
now remember the question you asked me about James Gunn putting in producing.
Yeah.
I would say I could see him dabbling, doing a little producing with the Dakotaverse. You know, I see him doing a little producing with the Dakotaverse,
No, I
being that, yeah.
no, go ahead.
No, no. That's all I was saying. I could see him doing more with the Dakotaverse as a producing wise.
I mean, he could. It's definitely possible. I mean, James Gunn, I think, does have the directing chops that he could do something with the Dakotaverse. I think it's much easier for him to do other things, but he could work some magic in there with the Dakotaverse with, you know, Static Shock and all that, and,
Icon.
Brother Icon and all those characters. But I do think when we loop back to Ezra Miller, I think Ezra Miller is gone after this movie. Flashpoint is a very easy way to explain why Ezra Miller doesn't look like Ezra Miller anymore,
Hmm.
and you could just replace him. I just don't think it's smart to keep a person who's been this volatile for this long onto your brand. I mean, we've seen it nowadays. Companies are much, much, much more apt to cut ties with somebody who they view as being problematic. And, it's whether you like it or you don't, I do think that it's something that companies do need to keep a mind of. And Ezra Miller has caused way too much. He's gone above and beyond, I think, the level where he just can't be this character anymore. Like he could be
Hmm.
tour de force in the movie, and I'll still say he was amazing in that movie. And I'm so gonna be happy when he's no longer the Flash, just because of the amount of chaos. I mean, we were joking like a month ago about there being like an Ezra Miller watch in Hawaii because he was causing that much just controversy and getting arrested that much and breaking into people's homes and fighting people and biting people in Hawaii. In Hawaii he was doing that. So I don't really know what else you can do with Ezra Miller except replace him. I mean, I'm not gonna speculate who they should replace him with, but I think he's definitely this is the last movie he's gonna be in. I do
Hmm.
think we're gonna get another Justice League movie. I don't know what that movie's gonna look like. I do think that, just big picture, I think
Okay.
I think big picture we're gonna get a lot more possibilities. But I do want to end this on you because I know, like I said, you're a huge DC fan. So I just I think you should end it with the hope that you have for the DC cinematic universe going forward.
Okay, so my hope with the DC universe going forward is literal redemption for every movie we did kind of messed up on. I know we have some good movies that we did right. Shazam, Aquaman,
Wonder
Christian
Woman.
Bale, Batman, Wonder Woman. Those DC films are all right, but what I want and the movie that I want them to, even though Ryan Reynolds, I love you so much. Love you, Ryan Reynolds. Man, I want to see them do another Green Lantern, preferably just yeah, another Green Lantern. I want to see another Green Lantern.
That
But the
that is
Green Lantern I want to see is JSA Green Lantern. That's the Green Lantern I want to see.
I mean, I honestly, I think if you're going to do a Green Lantern movie, I think you should embrace the fact that the Green Lanterns are an organization of themselves. Because I think Green Lantern movie is a perfect opportunity to do old Green Lanterns and new Green Lanterns. Like in the comics right now, isn't there an Asian woman playing Green Lantern right now?
Yeah, yeah,
You
right
can
now, yeah, we
you
do.
can bring in that old Green Lantern, bring her in as well, and they could just be a dynamic duo. And it could be Green Lantern with the both of them on the poster. Like embracing the fact that Green Lanterns can be anybody.
That's true.
And I think that's one thing that James Gunn will bring to this franchise as well as just DC as a whole, because I think James Gunn follows the rule of the audience does not know what they want until you give it to them.
That's a fact.
And it sounds like a weird thing because when you see a lot of movies, you see all these tropes, all these Easter eggs, and everything like
Hmm.
that. And the problem with that is simple. When you are making a story, you should just make a solid story. The biggest problem, as we talked about with Black Adam, was the story. The action was great, the story was not good. If the story was better, Black Adam would have been an amazing movie, but it wasn't. It was just okay because that story was just so tough. And with James Gunn, in the movies that we've seen them, especially in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and
Hmm.
Peacemaker, you know, we've seen him do good stories. We know that he can write good stories. We saw it with the
Yeah.
Suicide Squad. He wrote
Oh
a
yeah.
good story. So I think James Gunn is going to focus and bring more of a story focused take on the DC cinematic universe. And when you do that, then you can do a Green Lantern movie where you have you have all the Green Lanterns in there, and then maybe you add a brand new Green Lantern that we've never seen in the comics or anything like that. And you can do all of that, and it can be amazing. It could
Oh
it
yeah, it
could
will be.
it could absolutely be amazing. And you could do exactly the thing that Star Wars was afraid of with the Force, where you're saying anybody can have the qualities of being a Green Lantern. Because you could have a Green Lantern be from an oppressed background. You could have a Native American Green Lantern. Just somebody
Yeah.
get it and just be like, yeah, Green Lantern isn't about nationality or anything like that. It's about having the will to fight.
Yes.
And that's what I have, and I'm a Green Lantern. You could absolutely do a story like that, and you could see very easily how that story could be amazing, while you could also bring
Mm.
in an older Green Lantern who you could say this whole time the reason he hasn't been protecting Earth is because he's like, I have to guard an entire sector. I can't just guard
Mhm.
Earth. Like, all the times that this has been happening, I've been off world protecting other planets. That's why I can't be everywhere at once. And then
Right.
you could position this new Green Lantern as being like, things are getting even crazier on Earth. So you need to be here and protect our home while I'm out there protecting everybody else. And
Facts.
you could absolutely do that, and it would work so well. It could be such an important touchstone, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing that's got me most excited about James Gunn is that James Gunn has shown that he can get to the meat and bones of a story, as I said before. James Gunn is going to give, I think, DC fans period of storytelling, he's going to say, you don't know what you want until I give it to you, and once I give it to you, then you will know what you want. And it's really going to be fun when he gives us what he's going to give us. I mean, just think about it. We're seeing that holiday special where Drax and Mantis are going to be hunting down Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Ab-
Oh,
Absolutely
that's gonna
hilarious.
be
You
rich.
you couldn't have paid me to guess that plot line, and when I saw it, I was like, this makes absolute sense. This
Yes.
is this is in the characters. Yes, the characters would try and kidnap somebody to make one of their crew members happy. That makes perfect sense. You don't
Oh yeah.
When the logic makes sense for the character, when the motivation makes sense for the character, it's so much easier and so much more fun for everybody to buy in. You're not wondering
Mhm.
why are they there. You're just thinking, how is Kevin Bacon going to potentially get out of this? And if he isn't, how is he going to react to being taken to Star-Lord and being like, "Oh my god, it's you, Kevin Bacon." He's going to be like, "Why the heck am I here?" Like, they could do a Footloose reference in that
Yeah.
movie, and none of us are ever going to, like, forget it, and we're just gonna be like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. This
Mhm.
makes perfect sense. I don't need any background. If I know these characters, yeah, that's it. This is it. So, you know, I think James Gunn is going to do great. I also think Peter Safran's going to do great because he's done a good job at, you know, promoting and producing movies. His movies
Mhm.
make money, and I think he's going to be the great, he's going to be the great counterbalance to James Gunn, where James Gunn can think big because Peter Safran is making sure that the money and the assets are all there for him to think big. So
Right.
I think this is going to be a really good pairing, and
Mhm.
let's hope that the Dakotaverse comes up. You know, maybe
Yes.
I'll mail in my script for an Icon movie or a Static Shock movie featuring Icon. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. We can do it. You never know. Possibility. There are possibilities though.
Yes, there are. There are absolute
There are
possibilities.
possibilities. Like if they do a Static Shock movie, I would like to audition for a Bang Baby.
I mean, sure, you can if they actually do it, I'm sure that they will have auditions and we'll make sure you get down there so you can audition to be one of the Bang Babies. Even if it's just a Bang Baby that's like, "Oh, what happened? Oh, nothing. I'm able to light up the tip of my finger like ET. This is a bad Bang Baby power, but oh well."
Nah, no. If I had to, if I could, if they allowed me to pick which Bang Baby character I want to be, I would totally, literally pick the Shadow.
I just pick a Bang Baby that every time he closes the refrigerator door and opens it up, it always fills with food that isn't expired. I think that Bang Baby would be very much valued, even though they wouldn't appreciate him until he leaves and they're like, "Oh, now we have to pay for groceries." I miss Paul, and that would be my contribution.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you
I'm
that
I'm
one.
fine being the joke character if it means I can be in Comic Cons from now till forever as the guy who, whenever he opens up the refrigerator, there's always food in there.
True.
Hey, that's a superpower that everybody can get behind.
Yeah, that's super. I actually can get behind. I wish I had that power right now.
See, already, you think it's dumb, and then you think about it some more, and then you just say, "Yeah, I wish I had that superpower. Yeah,
Yeah,
that superpower would be great."
like keep everything in a perfect like it was when it freshly came out the oven to be able to do that. Oh man,
See,
that,
everybody,
that
everybody doubts the
dang it.
superpower until you think about it, and then you're like, "Yeah, that is actually a helpful superpower that I would want as me right now in my day to day life."
Okay, what about time travel?
I don't need time travel. Like, if you gave me that power, the amount of money that I would save on groceries alone would be worth it. Hundreds of dollars on
Yeah,
groceries saved.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, you're right there.
hundreds of dollars on groceries saved. And you know what? If every time I open up the refrigerator door, it's always fresh, guess what? I probably don't even need to have the refrigerator plugged in. So that means I get to save on electricity costs as well, which is also going to save me money. I'm thinking 3D
Snap!
chest. 3D chess here. That's
Oh, snap! He just checkmated me.
this is 3D chess here on the Two Sides of a Coin podcast, but we're not going to get into our favorite mutant powers. That will be for
Yeah,
another day cuz
yeah.
it's time for us to say goodbye to all you guys. So, John, tell people where to find you.
You can find me on Fat Man Loves Anime NYC 21. Feel free to DM me and ask me about the restaurants.
All right. And as I said, for me, if you want to find me on social media, please do not. I'm not going to respond. However, if you want to contact us in terms of the podcast, please feel free to reach out. If you want to email us, you can email us at twosidespodcast@gmail.com. That's TWOSIDEZ podcast@gmail.com, all one word. You can find us on Instagram at Two Sides of a Coin. We post not only the episode, but we also post clips during the week.
Mm-hmm.
You could also find us on Twitter at Two Sides Coin. Please feel free to reach out. You can find us on Spotify. You could find us on most podcasting apps. So, hey guys, reach out. We love to hear from you
Yeah.
and have a very good day. And remember, fresh groceries is its own superpower.
Yes.